One morning in 1994, two Americans responded to an invitation from the Russian Department of Education, whose mission was to teach morality and ethics in public schools based on biblical principles. They were supposed to teach in prisons, businesses, the fire department, the police, and even in a large orphanage. The orphanage already had nearly 100 boys and girls who had been abandoned and left in the hands of the state. From there came this story, recounted by the same visitors. As the holiday season of 1994 approached, the children of the orphanage were going to hear the traditional Christmas story for the first time. Affectionately and with great pride, we told them about Mary and Joseph arriving in Bethlehem, how they couldn't find a place in the inns, so they had to go to a stable where baby Jesus was finally born and placed in a manger. As the story was told, the children and the orphanage staff couldn't contain their amazement. Some of them were sitting on the edge of their chairs, trying to grasp every word. Once the story was finished, we proposed a work in the form of a game to the children to see if they had heard this beautiful story clearly. For each child, we gave 3 small pieces of cardboard to make a crude nativity scene and a square of paper cut from a yellow napkin that I had brought with me. Then we moved on to the instructions. The children carefully cut and folded the paper, placing the strips as if they were straw in that cardboard manger. Some small squares of flannel cut from an old pajama that an American lady had left behind when leaving Russia were used to make the baby's blanket. Brown felt that we brought from the United States was used to cut the figure of a baby. While the orphans were busy assembling their mangers, I walked among them to see if they needed any help. Everything was going well until I saw a little one in the distance that certainly caught my attention. He was tenderly sitting looking at his manger. I went to the little one to see what was going on. He seemed to be about 6 years old and had finished his work. When I looked at the manger, I was surprised to see that there wasn't just one child inside it, there were 2. I quickly called the translator to ask him why there were 2 babies in the manger. The little one crossed his arms and, observing the scene in the manger, began to repeat the story very seriously, recounting as a child who had heard the Christmas story. He was doing very well until he got to the part where Mary placed the baby in the manger. There, the little one began to invent his own ending to the story. He said, when Mary put the baby in the manger, Jesus looked at me and asked if I had a place to be. I told him I didn't have a mother or father and I didn't have a place to be. So Jesus told me I could be there with him. I told him I couldn't because I didn't have a gift to give him, but I wanted to stay with Jesus. So I thought about what I had that I could give as a gift. It occurred to me that a good gift could be to give him warmth, so I asked Jesus if I gave him warmth, would it be a good gift for him? Jesus told me that if I gave him warmth, that would be the best gift he ever received. So I got into the manger. Jesus looked at me and said if I wanted, I could stay there forever. When the little boy finished his story, his eyes were shining, filled with tears. Covering his face, he leaned his head on the table and his shoulders began to shake. The little orphan had found someone who would never abandon or abuse him, someone who would be with him forever. This story had great meaning for me. It taught me that it's not the things you have in your life that count, but who you have in your life. That's what really matters. I learned that the mercy of the Lord is infinite and will always have a place for us, for each of us. God is love and will always be there when we need him most. But remember, like the child, we must want to be with the Lord with all our hearts. We must feel that he walks with us. We all go through difficult times in this life, we all lose loved ones, we all get sick, we all have financial difficulties, but very few have sought ours and he always rewards those who seek him. If we search deep within ourselves, we will find his presence. We will find the strength to move forward in this cruel world, always trusting, always adopting the qualities his word teaches us, always respecting others, always loving, always being honest with God and with ourselves. Let's cherish the life that God has given us and enjoy all the good that is in it. Let's always be grateful for having one more day of life, for our family, for our work, for having something to eat every day, for our health and the health of our loved ones. And God will bless us abundantly. I hope you enjoyed this beautiful story. Remember, like the child, to take refuge in the Lord every time you feel alone. If you liked the video, like it and remember to subscribe so you don't miss any of these magnificent teachings. Activate the notification bell to be notified whenever new content is uploaded. Let me know in the comments if you liked this story and if you have ever felt like the child from the orphanage. Until next time.